And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you happen to be in the world today, welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be taking a look at some of what is going on in the world today via various news agencies, taking a look at some clips from the news and having a little bit of dialogue, a little discussion with the people that are able to join us on the live portion. And of course, if you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the YouTube at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. That's Coffee Talk and Prepper University channels, as well as X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find us at Coffee Talk Chat and fistfulofradio.com. Podcasting out of Atlanta Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Friday at noon. Being joined today by Miss Kitty, sitting in the chair behind me, keeping me company. And I've got an extremely, let go of that, rambunctious little monster under me here. Here he is. A bundle of energy. This is the kitten that was found in the car engine, of course. But he is very preoccupied right now because he wants to play desperately and he does not want to hold still for me. But I can't have him chewing on cables under the computer. That's a bad thing. But I'll go ahead and get started here, and I'll say hello to some of the people that have chimed in thus far. To say hello on the live portion, I see Helter is here. I see Brian is here. Dragon. Tuck. Cyberjack Sr. Chillin' Dave is here. Rodney is here. Yeah, he's cute until he starts nibbling on your hands. I just don't want him under the computer pulling on cables because he seems fascinated with being back there right now, and it's causing me a little bit of headache. Or he's giving me agita, as they used to say. And that's him squealing because I'm picking him up again and he won't let go of the cable. There we are. He just won't stop. He just won't stop. He's a bundle of energy right now. Come on, run away. And I see that Urban has joined us as well as we get ready to jump in. And Chillin says needle sharp claws. Yeah, they do. They do have, come on. They do have, like, it is like little needles. He's not rough with it. I mean, he's not actually biting hard or anything, but right now it's very distracting because he knows his limit. He's not actually trying to hurt me. He just wants to play so badly, and this isn't the time. And he's not going to mess with Miss Kitty. He knows better. She's not the one. And Tuck says, just finished rearranging cables myself. Her teeth are getting big. Yeah, I can well imagine. As we get ready to jump off here into what is going on in the world today. And we may as well start with the Heritage Foundation and their whole Agenda 2025 nonsense, because a lot of people are just not willing to let this go. And it's gotten around to Trump, who has officially denounced it now. He says, hey, listen, I don't have anything to do with that. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I see Flute Man has joined us. He says, has anyone heard or seen Colin Kaepernick in black and white TV shows? Seen some scenes on YouTube. You can tell they purposely have overdone it. No, I have not seen that yet, but it doesn't surprise me because that's all he's got going for him. He's a mediocre mediocre football player that nobody really cared about until he decided to play the political game. And now that's all he's known for. That's all he's known for. And Moki and Monkey have joined us. Glad you could make it today as we get ready to jump off here in the first article. First article from Axios. And here we go. Anytime now. First article from Axios. Trump disavows Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 despite MAGA ties. Just because they claim to be MAGA doesn't mean he has anything to do with it. Here's Donald Trump's official statement. I know nothing about Project 2025. I have no idea who's behind it. I disagree with some of the things they're saying, and some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. Anything they do, I wish them luck, but I have nothing to do with them. There it is. There it is. So here we are. Former President Trump on Friday disavowed the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, which has sparked widespread news coverage about policy plans for potential second Trump's administration. Project 2025 has long annoyed Trump and his top campaign officials, despite the deep links and allies shared by the two entities. Lately, Democrats have been attacking Project 2025 as a proxy for the stakes of defeating MAGA Republicans. And I've been hearing a lot about it, and there's been a lot of ads, especially on the radio. It's back-to-back nonstop pro-Biden for president ads, not just on the TV stations, but especially on the radio. My wife and I are out driving, and we got the radio on. We'll hear 3-4 of the same ad in a row. And they are insulting. I wanted to find a clip of it. It's actually very difficult to find some of these clips. The one with the guy going door to door to get people to vote for Donald Trump is extremely insulting. It's extremely insulting. It's an obvious wimpy sounding white guy. I'm here for vote for Donald Trump, and then there's a really, really deep voice. It's obviously supposed to be a black person. Won't you talk about Donald Trump? And they have a little back and forth where he says that, oh yeah, all them white folks what attacked the Capitol on January 6th, Donald Trump be calling them heroes, but black folk, they get to be this, and it's an extremely insulting commercial. I would be insulted if I was black listening to how it panders. And it is an official message, because you hear Biden's voice at the end saying, my name is Joe Biden, and I approve this message. It is official. But they mention in a lot of these ads, the Project 2025, Trump has nothing to do with. It's not him. They've been trying to establish this for a long time. Hey, that's not me. Knock it off. That's not me. But again, those ads are insulting anyways. They're terribly insulting. And here's this woman right here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I've seen her, and I'm trying to get this to pause so that I can put it back to the right spot and play this for you. I have seen this woman, this Taraji P. Henson, warning people.
Time for us to play chess, not checkers. It's about making decisions that will affect us as human beings, our careers, our next generations to come. Did you know that it is now a crime to be homeless? Pay attention.
She says it's a crime to be homeless. Pay attention. That's been at least 20 years there, sweetheart, at least, in most states. In some states, they've made it a crime long since. So that didn't just happen yesterday.
It's not a secret. Look it up. They are attacking our most vulnerable citizens. The Project 2025 plan is not a game. Look it up.
They want you to look it up, but they don't want you to research it. And the other thing that she said was that they're bringing back the draft. They don't show that clip here, but the draft never went anywhere. They call it selective service, but the draft never went anywhere. You can still be drafted. All they have to do is activate the selective service. If you're required to enroll in selective service, then you're eligible for the draft. We're not at war, so they didn't turn it on. The only thing that has changed with the draft, as far as I'm aware, since like World War II, is that, well, the only significant change anyways, is that now they're going to register you automatically. And that happened under the Biden administration. They did that. And Rodney says Heritage Foundation is just another lobby group. The Democrats are acting like it's official Trump policy. Yeah, exactly. Monkey says, did you hear about the French snap election where most of the parties formed a coalition against the RN party? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week because they're really going Looney Tunes out there. Paris is burning again, but that shouldn't surprise anybody. Urban Angst says the loony left will hang on Trump's words, or I wish them luck. See if they don't. And Chillin says he's sick of Joe Biden and Obama advertisements. Just $5, folks. Yeah. Tuck says Democrats went door to door for every POTUS candidate since forever. That's the other thing, too, is the commercial has someone going door to door for Trump. I have never had anybody try to come to my door for any Republican candidate, but they do try it out here for the Democratic ones. Democrats will send people out door to door and knock on your door and put flyers in your mailbox and bullshit. I've never seen a Republican Party nominee do that. Okay. But they do that in the commercial. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Monkey says, got to be careful now since the UK is done with the Labour Party winning and the French election, have all of the left and moderate parties form a coalition against the RN party. And New York Patriot has joined us. And he says, I don't see any of them spending money and building houses for the poor. No. Unbelievable. Rodney says, Taraj talking about the next generation when the Democrats delight in aborting that same generation. Yeah, absolutely. And Tuck says there's been anti-vagrancy laws for decades. I remember in the 80s hearing about some cities arresting someone for not having ID and at least $12 on their person under vagrancy laws. But yeah, it's not like this is a new thing. It's illegal to be homeless. It's been illegal to be homeless for a long time. This is nothing new. They act like it's new, and they act like it's Trump's fault somehow. Trump is not in office right now. And as I pointed out also, and they didn't show it in the clip, but she also talks very aggressively about bringing back the draft. Oh, they're bringing back the draft. Bitch, the draft never went anywhere. Do you not understand how? I mean, I understand that since you are technically female, even though if I were to ask you, you would claim not to know what you are because you're not a biologist. But the draft never went anywhere. They just don't activate it unless it's times of war. Then they initiate the draft. If you've got to fill out a selective service card, there's a draft. Okay. And again, the only time in recent memory that I am aware of that they made any kind of change to selective service is just recently. We read the article like last week, where now selective service will automatically register you at 18. Oh, I'm sure nothing will go wrong with that. I'm sure that'll work out really, really well. I'm sure that'll go over really well. Urban says the impression they have is that vagrancy is now encouraged, even in my part of the province, because again, Urban Angst is in Canada. The fentanyl zombies can basically do whatever they want, urinate, defecate, steal everything in sight. And Tuck says Taraj was on the degenerate TV show Empire. Empire, is that like all black cast soap opera? I saw like an episode of that some time ago. It was pretty raunchy. Not anything I would really want to watch. Not anything I would really want to watch or would enjoy watching. As we shift around here, I know that you're aware of the last week Word Radio, WURD, interviewed Biden. He flubbed by saying that he was proud to be the first black female vice president under Obama or something like that. He messed up pretty good, basically. And that host is now Am I still here? Let me know if you can still see me okay. The warden is laughing at me for what I said about the draft. It didn't. There's still a draft. There's still a draft. It didn't go anywhere. And then Chris says the 70s movie Convoy, the sheriff threatens a trucker with vagrancy. Yeah. That's the same threat that they put on John Rambo in the first film. The sheriff of Jerkwater, USA there. Nature Nerd says he knows a guy that says you technically don't need to fill out the draft, but that means you can't vote. You can't get a passport. You can't do a lot of things. You can't do a lot of things. I'm getting a notification here that the audio went out and came back. Audio came out and came back. So hopefully we're doing okay now. Let me stop. It's so aggravating because you get all of these stupid ads and these other things mess you up, and then blockers interfere with restream and make things harder for me. But evidently, the radio host, and that's on this article right here from Forbes, radio host who conducted Biden's first post-debate interview parts ways with the station after using White House provided questions. Evidently, he found out that the questions that were provided to her were given to the station by the White House, which is apparently against the station's policy. It's against the station's policy. So getting into Forbes's article, the radio host who conducted the first interview with President Joe Biden after his shaky debate performance almost 2 weeks ago no longer works for WURD radio, the outlet's president said in a statement after it was revealed. She asked the president a series of predetermined questions provided by the White House, which is a violation of the station's news policies. Okay, there it is. So Sarah Lomax, president and CEO of Word Radio, says in a statement released Sunday, host Andrea Lawful Sanders agreed to ask questions written by the White House without consulting the station's management, violating the practice of remaining an independent media outlet accountable to our listeners. Lomax says the station's earlier work with the administration was always done under the condition that its journalists were not constrained to their suggested topics or talking points, and accused the post-debate interview process of delegitimizing Black voices. Lawful Sanders told CNN on Saturday morning that the White House drafted and sent her questions to be asked of the president before the interview, and that she chose 4 from a list of 8 questions. Earl Ingram, who interviewed Biden the day after Lawful Sanders for another radio station geared towards Black listeners, also told ABC News she was given questions for Biden as well. So because of this now, she's resigned. It says Lomax wrote claiming Miss Lawful Sanders and Word Radio have mutually agreed to part ways. The Biden administration was also criticized on 2 fronts for providing questions to be asked by the president or of the president following his debate performance. Some accused the White House of shielding Biden, you think, from having to face impromptu questions, and others accused the administration of using and abusing Black media members when in crisis. I don't like that they focus on the fact that it's Black media members. They do that with everybody. Nature Nerd says Ukraine and Russia keeps raising their draft age to protect the younger generation. And then All People says when LBJ got his Hart Celler Great Society Acts passed, his goal was to bring new Blacks into the country and overwhelm the welfare rolls and cause chaos. Okay. Dragon says her company threw her under the bus. They most definitely knew she would be conducting an interview with the President of the United States. Yeah, and when you see that where they say mutually decided to part ways, that's a really nice way of saying you sat in an office and they gave you a letter of resignation and says, if you want to work anywhere again, sign this. That's how that works. And then they say, oh, we decided to mutually part ways, because then it doesn't sound like you got kicked in the teeth. You hear that a lot in the music industry. Oh, my producers and I decided to mutually part ways. Translation: they didn't want you anymore, and they said sign this and walk away, or we'll make it nasty. We'll make it nasty. But that's just the beginning of the problems. That is just the beginning. Oh, and Tuck's got it right there. If you're not rehearsing my scripted interview, you ain't black. Biden administration. Pretty much. That's about how it works. That's about how it works. And we'll try to jump to another article here. I found this fascinating. And we'll see if I can. I got a couple of articles on the subject. But apparently, while we're on the subject of Biden, still talking about Biden here, and hopefully this will come up. Daily Mail article: Biden staff gives him instructions on how to enter and exit a room. And you can see, I mean, they've shown these pictures before. He's got like this real detailed lists and cards that tell him what to do. Stand here, sit there, at this person. And this is the list here. For those of you who can see this image, I'll try to put it up. That is a list where it's got pictures of the reporters that are in the room, and next to their face is the question they're going to ask. Okay, but in addition to this, he also has written instructions on how to get to the podium and how to leave. So President Joe Biden has given detailed instructions with pictures and a large font instructing him on how to enter and leave venues ahead of planned events. It has emerged. A template provided to event staffers and obtained by Axios shows how Biden aides prepare a short document with a photograph that depicts his precise route that he needs to walk to the podium. The template also reportedly included memos that showed the view from the podium and view from audience, which were also accompanied by photographs. Do they have pictures of that here? Because that's really what I'm looking for. And if they don't show it, I'm going to open up the I'll open up the other article because I want to show that image. I want to show those images to everybody. Let me see if this is it. This is a Fox News article, and I think they detail some of those pictures because they've been found now and they've been revealed. Urban says Biden sold his soul a long time ago, and the devil has come for payment. Has he? The devil has come for payment. Give the devil his due, evidently. Give the devil his due. Let me stop that from playing. Try to stop that from playing because Restream is acting buggy today. Did this open? No, it did not. So let me pull this back up again. Sorry for the monkeys and the wrenches here. Fox News, of course, Biden staff prepped him on how to enter, exit fundraiser rooms. So President Biden staffers, and this is the same thing that was on the other article because they all recycle articles. So this one says, I staffed a simple fundraiser at a private residence, but they treated it like it was a NATO summit with his movements. One person who reportedly staffed a Biden event in the past 18 months. So this has been going on for a while, and this is what I was looking for, and I'm going to blow that image up. He's got these cards that show him the path he's supposed to take. You see these 3x5 index cards that you see him carrying around, and he takes them in and out of his pocket. Here's what's on them. You see it's White House stationery. You can see at the top there. And on the left here, walk to podium. And so this is the pathway from wherever he is backstage to where he's going to turn on the right there to go out to the audience. And then the next card, walk to podium, shows the view from that archway to where he goes out on stage. So he's got like a pictograph map of where to go and how to get there with written instruction. Chillin' Dave says, what a disgrace. And Rodney says Biden literally couldn't find his way out of a paper bag even when provided with the navigational equipment. And Chillin says, who wrote the directions in the use? Who wrote his directions in the use of the presidential privy? Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I assume he can operate a toilet. I would hope so. But that's what the cards look like. This is what I was looking for, so I could demonstrate this for you. Axios obtained a copy of a 5-page document template that the White House reportedly sends to staffers to prepare the president. The document reportedly also usually included a large picture of the event space on each page. The message was view from podium and view from audience as written. Biden's disastrous debate performance against former President Trump in Atlanta has prompted serious concerns from within the Democratic Party about the president's viability to run for a second term. The White House insists that these detailed instructions for the 81-year-old president are nothing out of the ordinary. Nothing to see here, folks. Don't worry about it. It's okay. He's at the top of his game. He's in the best place he's ever been. High levels of detail and precision are critical to presidential advance work, regardless of who is president. And these are basic approaches that are used by any modern advance team, including the vice president's office and agencies. White House Senior Deputy Press Secretary and Deputy Assistant to the President, Andrew Bates, said in a statement to Fox News Digital, reacting to this report. And then Vice President Biden's team did the same, as did other principals during the second term of the Obama-Biden administration. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if it was as detailed as all this. You know what I mean? These documents are standard logistical briefing materials and photos for any principal, including the Vice President Harris, Communications Director Kirsten Allen added. Yeah. So, it's no big deal. This happens all the time. They do this for everybody who works at the White House. The president, the vice president, they all get something like this, similar things like this, almost like this, kind of like this. But do they get this? Is this what they get? Do they get these kind of cards? Oh my God. Is that what they have? As we continue on here, because I'm having issues with this. I'm having connectivity issues again. This is not my day. Monkey says 82 million votes vote. I thought it was 81, but 81, 82, something like that. Something like that. I find that hard to believe. I find that very hard to believe. Monkey says has to be shown literal pictures on where to go. And you know what's funny about that, Monkey? He still messes it up. They show him pictures of where to go and how to do it, and he still messes it up. He still messes it up. Chillin says maybe that's White House powder that was found as memory treatment medication. I don't know. I don't know about that, but yeah, there you are. That's what's going on. Tuck says if Joe were poor, he'd be rolling down the sidewalk in a filthy wheelchair, yelling at pedestrians and shrubs. You think so? That could be. That could be. Now, someone had mentioned the homeless earlier. And I apologize for the flubs today because it looks like Restream's giving me a really hard time. And also, I'm getting about, as far as I can tell, a third or less, maybe a quarter of the average viewers. Because according to this, there's like nobody here. And I don't know if that's YouTube or what the hell's going on. But yeah, there's a lot of buggy issues today. And that's frustrating for me. A, because I paid for the service for Restream so that I could do this with everybody. And B, because it's an inconvenience not just to me, but for the people who are trying to watch. They're trying to watch the channel. It's a terrible inconvenience, and it's so for me it's kind of frustrating. It's kind of frustrating, and it could be ScrewTube messing with me as well, because it seems like that's about all they do anymore. You see, Jack says it shows 8 people, and I don't know if it's accurate or not. I don't know if that's accurate or not, because I know the numbers are often wrong. If I look up after this one of the streams, I'll look on Coffee Talk, for example. If I look up the channel, it'll say 12 views or something like that. But then I go into Coffee Talk and I pull up the analytics, and it'll say like 112 or something like that. And I'm like, well, why are you putting out a false number for people that look at the channel then? Because that's discouraging to people, because they figure, oh, nobody watches this shit. That's why they do it, to torture me, I guess, because they hate me. They hate my guts, folks. What am I going to do? And Sven says that his show's 10. See, I don't know what's accurate or not, but the number appears to be a lot less than normal. And I'm sure that people aren't getting their notifications either, because that's been a long time problem. You all know the story. Both channels have been getting crushed for about 2 years now. They've really made this an unpleasant experience all the way around. They've really made this an unpleasant experience all the way around. Oh, also, by the way, because people had asked me about it, I did put up, and you can find it in the chat at the beginning of the chat, and you can find it in the description. I did open up my Amazon wish list so people could see it, because there is some cat supplies on there. And Sven says he'd like a video and it will be unliked after a while. Yeah, they do a lot of wonky stuff. And there's H12 joining us here today. But I did go ahead and I threw that up for people to see. The Amazon wish list, because I had a handful of people ask me on Friday if I had one with any kind of like pet supplies or anything like that on there. So I did want to demonstrate that. I did add that there. I'll put it on here again real quick so that you can see it. And hopefully it doesn't get weird. Let me see if I can throw that on there. I think that's it. Okay. Try not to screw anything up here. I try. And Tuck says he gets notifications now, but sometime exactly at 2. And then Justin Case has also joined us here today. Glad you could make it. And Rodney says 2 on Prepper University and 9 on Coffee Talk. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And like I said, when I look at the analytics later, it'll be completely different. It'll be completely different than what shows on the outside, like if you're looking up the channel. And I think they do that to make the channel look like it's not doing anything or going anywhere. Their numbers are always wonky and not honest. They're not honest. And Juan says he gets the notifications. I'm glad somebody is. But homelessness was brought up a minute ago, and building homes and building shelters and all that jazz. So I wanted to take a look at this. Monkey says the Amazon link tells me it's not available. Oh, give me a break. Try the one. Try the one on. Let me see. Try the one in the comments and not the comments. Excuse me. Try the one in the description of the video. Or let me look here. I think it's hyphenating it, and that's what's screwing it up. Let me go to Amazon and open it. Let me see here. I'm going to copy the link directly from Amazon. Try that. Yeah, that looks a lot different. Yeah, I think that what happened was that YouTube hyphenated it so that it couldn't be copied. So when I copied it, it screwed up. And H12 says he got notified. Well, like I said, it's it's good to know. I'm glad somebody is, anyways. Somebody is. Savvy Dime article. Newsom under fire for the 1,200 tiny homes he had built for California homeless, which are all empty. They're empty. It's empty. It's empty. Who knows what that quote is from? Who knows where that quote is from? It's empty. That's a tough one. In March 2023, California Governor Gavin Newsom promised 1,200 tiny homes for the homeless. Oops, hold on a second. Amidst an homeless crisis in the Golden State. However, 1 year after the promise was made, things have changed. Construction of the homes started in March of 2024, with many still being unfinished. With construction not expected to finish until the fall, people are still none the wiser about what is going on with the project. It's money laundering. It's money laundering, like everything else in California. Out of all the current generations, baby boomers are the most likely to be homeless. Are they? I can't tell. It doesn't look to me, true baby boomers, it doesn't look to me like there's 80-year-olds walking around homeless in the street mostly. What do you think? These people were born towards the end of World War II in the middle half of the 1960s. This is due to them having gone through several recessions, which caused them to use up their savings and in some cases lose their jobs. This has seen a rise from 10% of homeless Americans being over 50 years of age to 37%. Okay. On top of the promise of small houses, California's homeless population has been given $750 a month as part of a universal basic income for a year. This was given to 100 people in the San Francisco Bay and Los Angeles County areas. They spent the money on food, accommodation, transportation, clothing, and other unidentified expenses. This is in comparison to the people who thought they would spend the money on drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol. We read the article on that. They really don't know what happened with that money. They don't know really what those people did with that. Because we read that article a couple of months back. California's acting like everything is just peachy with the pilot program, but it's not. Because they don't know what happened. In March 2023, Newsom announced his plans to build 1,200 tiny homes across California in the hope that many homeless people would be able to temporarily live there and get on their feet before moving to somewhere more permanent. It's ended up costing considerably more. They said that it was going to cost around like $9,000 a house, and it turned out to be more closer to like $100,000 somehow. And that's not counting operating expenses. It's extremely out of budget with no explanation. The plan is to build them across 4 different jurisdictions, 350 in Sacramento, 500 in Los Angeles, 200 in San Jose, and 150 in San Diego County. It's just another way to waste money. And you're going to need to have police on site, social workers on site, maintenance staff on site, sanitation on site. There has to be, it's going to have a cafeteria setting. So there's going to have to be kitchen staff on site. This is going to cost a goddamn fortune. I know some people don't like that phrasing, but no, it is not blasphemy. I'm just saying. Oh, Dragon got it. And so did Rodney. Universal Soldier. That's right. Dolph Lundgren, when he pulled the trigger on the gun and nothing happened. And he said, "It's empty." Moki says we need to build mental facilities. Yes, well, we had that. We had that, and once upon a time, they told us it was inhumane. Oh, you can't lock these people up. It's a violation of their rights. You force them to do this, that, and the other. Because technically, when you're in mental health, no matter what they tell you, you don't really have any rights. All they have to do is get a doctor to sign a document. They can do anything to you. You have no idea. But a lot of the people that are in there for a reason. As I've stated, I worked in mental health. You all know this. I worked in mental health for like 2 years. My wife worked there longer than I did. We worked there together. And they're in there for a reason. Some of them are very dangerous, either to themselves or to other people. We had a guy who he would not stop eating. if he had unlimited access to food, and this has happened accidentally with this guy, okay, where he got hold of food, he will eat and eat and eat until he pukes. He'll continue force himself to keep eating until he throws up, and then he'll keep going. He'll continue to eat after he puked all over himself. So you have to really carefully measure how much of what he gets and make sure he doesn't touch anyone else's food. And he will try to steal other people's food. He cannot stop. Can you imagine this guy running around in the streets? There are people, a lot of them, they're locked up for a freaking reason. And there's a lot of people that are on the streets that need to be secured, and they're not because it's, quote, inhumane. Rodney says Newsom is the epitome of Democrat politicians. And Tuck says the second link is working. I know there's some other junk on there, but there's some cat supplies in there as well. And like I said, people did ask about it on Friday. So I wanted to grab the link and throw it up there so that they could see the wish list. No obligation, but I put it up there because it was requested. Urban says, well, if they cram the homeless into tiny homes, they can't call them homeless anymore. What good is that? Oh, well, that's a whole new industrial complex then. Now you got your shelter industrial complex now, because that stuff is going to cost a fortune to operate. Helter says the homeless problem is a way to make a lot of money. Yeah, homeless industrial complex. Newsom doesn't want to solve it. He wants to be paid and never fix anything. Never fix anything. All People says the guy named Elvis in California built a bunch of homes by himself with his own labor and supplies for the homeless for free. The city council bulldozed them down and have everyone replaced. Everyone was replaced in tents. Cruising says other unidentified expenses sounds like drugs and alcohol. Yeah, because again, we read that article, you might remember, a few months ago, that pilot program. They're trying to make it sound like it was so great. And it was not. They really can't even track what those people did with it. They tried a pilot program with that in DC, or like that in the District of Columbia. We read that article as well. They were spending it on going to the casino, getting their hair done, all kinds of crazy stuff, because they actually in DC tracked what the money was being spent on, as opposed to in California where somebody's just filling out a piece of paper. You don't know what the hell they did. Nature Nerd says Social Security isn't helping old people anymore, but it makes the rich old people richer. Who could have guessed? Yeah, I don't know. Also, everybody technically is eligible for Social Security, and if they grab an elderly person, if you are like, because they said baby boomers, okay, 70, 80 years old, you can put that person in a nursing home, and the nursing home will take their eligible Social Security for their room and board, because that's how that works. A state-run nursing home, they collect the Social Security check, and trust me, it ain't enough, but they take that Social Security check, and the rest of it is a write-off to put the person in a nursing home. They can't leave, though. That person has to stay in there. So there's no excuse for a person elderly to be out on the streets like that. I don't believe those numbers. I don't think that's true. Either that or people just don't know how the system works or how to work the system. Fluke Man says, wonder how many living in shelters claim to be homeless, but has a residential building, renting it out to make money living in shelters rent free. And also, when you see people, again, I've mentioned this many times, out in the street holding a sign, whatever, homeless and hungry, blah, blah, blah. That's a scam. That's a scam. Those people are not homeless. Most of the people that are telling you they're homeless are not. Most of the people that are telling you they're a homeless vet were never in the military. There's a lot of scamming that goes on there. Helter says no matter how much people on the left talk about compassion, they have no compassion for the taxpayers. They have no compassion for anybody. It's a lie. They pretend to care. They pretend to care. My wife was talking about that just yesterday. We were out walking, and we frequently take walks around here together. And she was talking about that's one of the things that really annoys her the most, especially with politicians and celebrities and people like that, people in the media, is they act like they're so passionate about something, but they really do not care. And that is true. I don't believe these people care. Oh, the homeless, and we're trying to help. Oh, the veterans, and you don't give a damn about these people. You don't care. You really don't. And it's so sad how fake everybody is. Brian says, I bet even the Buffetts don't like that guy. Oh, yes. H12 said, did you ever get the litter? No. I did go back, and they couldn't find anything. They said that the thing shows already picked up, and the only thing that was on it was a bag of cat food. No litter. So no H12. I would try to get a refund for that. I'm sorry that didn't work out well. It's not your fault. I mean, that's entirely on Walmart. Believe it. They're a wonky system, and I do appreciate you trying to help. I really do. And like I said, I was able to pick up the cat food, but not the litter. So I'm glad you reminded me. I'm glad you asked about that, so that you can follow up on it. Fluke Man says kicking out patients from mental hospitals can't take care of themselves is a violation in of itself. Yeah, it was a violation. A lot of those people, when they started discharging them in the 80s and early 90s, when they started shutting down state facilities, they ended up dead. Either because they went off their medication because no one was monitoring it, or they were suicidal, or there was some other problems, or they got into fights somewhere and got killed. A lot of them ended up getting killed. So yeah, it's more inhumane. It's people don't like it. Oh God, oh you're locking them up, and you're doing this and that with them. And yeah, you know what? You deal with them. I would love for anybody who has that attitude to do the job I did working for mental health and dealing with those people, and see what that's like. And then you come and you tell me how it should be handled better. You haven't experienced anything till you've been in a bathroom with a guy who's standing there naked, who crapped all over himself, and it's your job to clean him up, and he's violent, and he wants to scratch and bite you the whole damn time. Oh, but I'm being inhumane because we're being inhumane because someone's got to hold his wrists so that he doesn't dig his nails into you, and his fingers have been freaking everywhere, trust me, so that you don't get a staph infection from him touching you. You tell me I'm inhumane. You know the old adage, walk a mile in someone's shoes. Those are people that have never experienced anything like that. They have no idea what they're talking about. Raccoon says, do they still say the lottery sales help older Americans? I remember my parents watching the nightly drawing. Yeah. I don't know about that, but I know that they say that the lottery, because it's supposed proceeds from it, and Lord knows they tax the life out of it, are supposed to go towards public schools, road repairs, parks and recreation. There's a whole laundry list in every state. I don't know what goes on with that. Cruising says his grandparents get $2,600 after taxes on their Social Security. Once you take mortgage rent out of that, that's $1,100. Figure elderly health expenses, and easy to see why the ones on the lower payments struggle. And Sven says the VA doesn't give a damn. Yeah, they'll tell you they do, and they sure do get in your business too, don't they, at the VA? Nature Nerd says fake people are nice until you say a few wrong sentences, then their masks peel off. And Brian says they like to virtue signal for attention and try to look like they're good people, not just celebrities, average people too. That's true. All they care about is their social media, Netflix, and celebrity gossip. And H12 says he got kicked by a patient in mental health, never been the same. Really? And one example I've given also before, you might have heard me talk about this one, and not at my facility, but at a different facility. There was a woman who lost her job over this. A patient, it was a female patient and a female staff member. The female patient was in her mid-20s, and the staff member was much older, probably in her 40s-ish. She comes by and she had a big cup, like a 44-ounce cup, like a soda cup. It was full of urine. and she walked by, and while the staff member was standing there talking to another person, walked by and chucked it in her face, splashed the urine on her, and she jumped. You think about how you would react. She jumps and she smacked her. Lost her job for being violent with a patient. She was a DSP, direct support professional is what they call that, a DSP. That's what I was, a DSP. I mean, how would you react if someone walked past you somewhere and just threw a cup of urine in your face? I mean, you try to keep in mind that they're mentally ill, and they're gonna do weird stuff, and some of them do stuff like that. They can be really nasty, really disgusting, but you're only human, and she just had a snap reaction, just smacked her, and that was enough for her to lose her job and to be put on a watch list because the state tried to press charges against her for what's the charge? What's the charge? Abusive award of the state, something like that. I'm trying to remember what it was, but she lost her job, and she'll never work in that field again because you go on a national registry. The registry is maintained by the FBI. If I got in trouble during that mental health, and I went to Montana and tried to get a job doing that, the FBI would tell them not to hire me when they ran my fingerprints, because it's pretty serious. Nature Nerd says most old people use their Social Security checks on gambling. Yeah, that does happen. And Rodney made a donation to the channel. Thank you, Rodney. It says, trying to buy something on your wish list. It looks like it's going to try and deliver it to my physical address. Is that just for billing purposes? That should be for billing purposes. It should, because it should send it to me, but it won't show the customer my address. Does that make sense? It won't show my address, but it should just be for the customer to see. It should just be for the customer to see. That's just, yeah, it's like a safety catch from Amazon, but it should default to my address. As we, where are we here? Urban says, I have compassion for minimum wage counter workers who have to deal with the homeless every hour of every day on the job. And H12 says they try to live on theirs. It's not quite enough. Brian says, I can't stand mentally ill people, a waste of tax dollars. Oh no, Rodney says, okay, I put it through. Hopefully it doesn't turn up here. Well, if it does, you can always return it. Hopefully it doesn't screw up, but I really appreciate that, Rodney. Thank you. And Moki says, I'm going to fight for you. Yes. And Tuck says, I don't know any elderly who can afford gambling. Must be the upper middle class retirees. I don't know any of those. Hey, you see people in all walks of life on the lower end of the spectrum that gamble constantly. Look at the people that you see in the convenience stores and the gas stations buying buttloads of scratch tickets. You know what I mean? And playing tons of numbers games, and they don't have any. Let me put that other link up again. Somebody's asking about it because Raccoon says the link is broken on my end. Yeah, this one is a more updated version. It's messed up because YouTube won't let it be copied. But people will gamble. People will gamble and they got nothing. And then they'll have less and they'll complain about that. Consumer alert. I'm going to do one of these. Hopefully I got time. If not, I can pick you back up again tomorrow. Anybody heard of Appeal? Appeal, A-P-E-E-L. Peel as in like peeling off tape or peeling open a banana. Appeal. Anyone heard of that? Here's your consumer warning to stay the hell away from this stuff. I'm going to show you what it is. And this is a hard article to find. It says Moms Across America, MAA. Appeal fruit and vegetable protective coating is not so appealing when you break it down. It says, and that's what it looks like, this green with this piece of fruit, and it says appeal. It says appeal protective coating. What exactly is this coating? And if it's not your health, what price are you willing to pay to foster the longevity of your apples and lemons? This might seem like a stretch, but it's a culture that demonizes aging and celebrates turning back time, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you're going to get to the point. All right, this is what I'm looking for. Appeal keeps produce fresh for longer thanks to the help of a little extra peel. Our plant-based protection slows water loss and oxidization, the primary causes of spoilage. Appeal is composed entirely of purified monoglycerides and diglycerides, edible compounds that can be found in a variety of foods. They are safe to eat as verified by regulatory authorities around the world, including Health Canada, the United States Food and Drug Administration, and the World Health Organization. In fact, they are so safe they can be found in products designed for the most sensitive populations, including infant formula and nutrition states for the elderly. Okay? Now, here's the problem with it. What appeal is, okay? And you can find it. It's being used by Nature's Pride, Sage Fruit, Del Monte, Echo Farms, Del Rey, Horton Fruit, RV Aggregates, Alpine Fresh, Beta, Farm Direct Supply, La Venta, and Sycar Farms. You can get it. It's on fruits and vegetables. And Costco, Trader Joe's, Gelson's, Ralph's, Sprouts, Vaughn's, Walmart, Whole Foods, Kroger, Harps Foods, Wakefern, Price Right, Fairway Market, Target, and Bristol Farms. Okay? Here's the problem. It says plant-based protein because it uses grape skin extract. Also, and just in case, says they've heard of it. And H12 says the receipt shows it's going to the P.O. box. Okay, I'll watch out for it. Thank you. And Damien says, I hope it's Kennedy versus Trump instead of Biden. And Chris says, thank you for your time. Well, thanks for coming. The problem with it is that they're getting away with calling it plant-based because it uses, you see, plant-based protection, because it uses grape skin extract. The other things that it uses are petroleum-based compounds. Petroleum-based compounds that, if you're constantly exposed to it, are toxic. If you've seen, look up videos of people with appeal products. And I see Spectre is here. He says, good afternoon. Look for appeal products. And I'm going to bring this back up again tomorrow because I'm getting close to the time. I've seen videos of this stuff where people will peel a banana and then they'll take the banana and bend it. And it touches, you can touch the two ends of the banana together because it's like rubber. You know how even with a soft fruit like a banana, there's a crispness to it where you can break it in half. You can't break this stuff because it changes the basically the genetic structure of the fruit or vegetable it's been sprayed with. It's being sprayed on this product and it's being encouraged because it's extending shelf life. But if you keep eating it, it's toxic. It hurts your it hurts your digestive tract. It hurts your liver. It hurts your kidneys because it's petroleum based. It's approved by the FDA because money. And guess who appeal comes from? Anybody want to take a guess where appeal comes from? And All People says Whole Foods and Amazon uses a peel. The food looks like it's made of rubber. Yeah, because you're putting a petroleum-based coating on it to keep it from rotting. But you cannot wash it off. It penetrates all the way through the fruit or vegetable. It penetrates all the way through to the center. It's another Bill Gates product. All right, we'll just leave that there. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. We'll get back to this tomorrow. So again, thank you everyone for joining us here today. Glad you could make it. Special thanks to Rodney, who made a donation to the channel, and everybody else who is trying to use the Amazon link for the cats. I appreciate that. I really do. We got a long way to go with all of these pets. Well, they're not even pets, really, honestly. They're my animal friends, but some of them need to be rehomed, and we're behind schedule. So we need all the help we can get. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everybody who was able to join us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation.